The Joint Special Emergency Court was formed in 2015 to address complaints by civilians and even members of organized forces of misbehavior while on duty. On Friday, officials said the court will sit at the Central Equatorial State Police Headquarters with judges from the National Security Service, the South Sudan People's Defense Forces, and the South Sudan Police Service. Major General Sadiq Ismail Sadiq, the Director of Police Court, says the special court aims to address the growing need for justice in the country.
In recent years, we have recognized an increased need to address the complex approach, which is why the establishment of the court is not only timely but necessary. It signified our dedication to maintain high standard conduct and integrity among those entrusted with the protection of our nation.
Lieutenant General Thomas Jal Thomas, the Police Deputy Inspector General, says some members of the organized forces have not lived up to their mandate of protection.
This time we have to be clear and we have to be realistic. Most of the crimes is either committed by somebody in uniform or is part of that crime. We have to admit this, because if you don't point at things the right way, things will not go.
Lu Rai Kong, the spokesperson of the South Sudan People's Defense Forces, has advised civilians to report any legal violation by a SSPDF member or police officer.
If you are a citizen of this country, you are residing in this country, even if you are a foreigner, and you have been aggrieved by those from the organized forces, this is the place where you will get a redress, where your problems will be heard and resolved in accordance with the law. And it has a cross-cutting mandate that will not spare anybody. You are from us, as SPDF, you will be held accountable in accordance to our code of conduct, rules and regulations, and the same way.
David Kumure is the spokesperson of the National Security Service. He says the service has received a number of complaints regarding allegations that authorities have been involved in land grabs and other misconduct.
We register a number of cases that sometimes we, the organized forces, we go and take somebody's land, and we receive a number of complaints in our offices. But today, my brother, my dear comrades, the law is going to take its course. I also want to send warning to the national security officers, the NCOs. You commit the law against any civilian, you will be brought to this court.
Omara Joseph is the Protection and Advocacy Officer at the South Sudan Human Rights Defenders Network. Joseph says this court, if utilized well, will render justice on a number of issues.
We know that some of the organized forces have not been living to the expectations, and that is why we have a lot of violations that have not been accounted for. And if this court is established, I'm quite sure some of these violations against human rights, against the civil population, will definitely be reduced.
According to a 2024 Human Rights Watch report, South Sudan continues to face a dire human rights and humanitarian crisis. It notes that conflict between government officials, opposing forces and their respective allied militias continues. A United Nations human rights body highlighted the impunity that is enjoyed by senior South Sudan Army, police and national security officials responsible for serious human rights violations. For VOA News, I'm Denis Logonyi reporting from Juba.